If only I had spidey senses, so I can tell when something's wrong. Oh, and I'm in search to protect this heart from breaking into pieces. Where's my hammer? Where's the shield? Oh, the strength to carry the weight of the world. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Snap Decisions. I am your Snap DJ, your host with the most. Once again, I'm a little late on a Wednesday, but again, like I said, what are you going to do? It should be something you'd expect from me by now. But yeah, a lot to cover. New season starting, a lot going on in Marvel Snap. A lot of good stuff, in my opinion, that's going on in the game right now, actually. I'm sure that may differ with people, but I'll talk about that in a little bit and tell you why. But as always, we have all of the good stuff going on this week. We've got on the show today, we've got my spin with basically what we're going to talk about is, number one, are we getting too many cards? It seems like that seems to be the topic of the week. We got 10 cards last month. Looks like we're getting 10 again this month. But I'm going to tell you why. And I actually responded to KM Best had his post about hot topics that he does with that video. Takes people's opinions and stuff like that. Used mine a couple times. But yeah, I'm going to respond to that today in the spin and talk about my thoughts on that and why they could be doing it, why it could be happening. Now, a lot of people, of course, are going to think it's something sinister, monetization wise and all that kind of stuff. But, look, things have changed a little bit as far as that goes. Like, things have gotten a little bit better. They changed the season pass, or the extended season pass, the one that costs more, where you're just getting a variant of the actual card, not the actual card itself anymore. So now you can get that in packs. So it does seem like that they are, at least listening a little bit to all the concerns about the monetization of the game. Are they still monetizing it? Yes, but I mean, it does look as if they're monetizing the cosmetics instead, which, look, let's face it, that's something that everybody has asked for. If you want to monetize things, monetize the cosmetics, because ultimately you don't need cosmetics to play the game. They're just to kind of for bragging rights and other things like that. So yeah, it does seem like to me anyway, and I know other people I've talked to that, they kind of are listening a little bit. Things are taking a step in some right directions. But we'll talk about that in the spin about the card count. I'm also going to give you my feelings on bots and the specifically the cheater bots, which I still kind of think that the reason behind the amount of bots, and I watched Dexter playing yesterday when the season started. I watched Binks playing when the season started, and everybody seems like they're getting a ton of bots, which, as I told all of you guys, I think that that's pretty much because of the loss of players. And in order to save everybody from going into a queue, you're just going to see more of these bots. But I'm going to talk about some of the ones that are just crazy annoying because they're placed in positions where, to me, I don't think they really should be. I did discuss this a little bit on last week's show, but it's gotten, to me, it's gotten what seems to be worse. And I'll also tell you how you could recognize the good bots from the bad bots, and I kind of figured it out a little bit. And it's kind of like you used to be able to recognize them before, but not quite the same way. But I've been able to base snaps on it to the point of where those are the games where I'll win the 8 cubes pretty easily. So I'll let you know how to do that today on the show. And again, the thing is they're few and far between. You don't get many of them. What I've seen often is if you get on a bit of a losing streak and you lose like maybe 3 games in a row or something like that, then all of a sudden it's like the game kind of gives you a break and you get one of these. Again, I was kind of ranting about that, saying that it was nice to get that little break. Well, it does seem like they're still doing it. They're just doing it in a different way. So we'll talk about the card count. We'll talk about the bots in the spin. Then we've got the request line, which I have once again renamed that. I used to be the DJ call-in, but my friend Jeff came up with it, and it's going to be part of the YouTube show that's starting next week, the restart of the YouTube show. Nerf Herder will be my first guest. But that's starting up next week, rebranding. Jeff is doing the graphics and everything for it, and he came up with this for the graphic that he's going to use. So it's called the request line. And this week's request line has a question from X that I put out there. So I'll get to your responses from that question. Then we're going to go to, and this one has also been renamed by my friend Jeff. It's called Snap Talk. And then that's technically the week in review segment. And again, that's going to have its own graphic as well. Which, I cover what I did, where I ended up on ladder, what I did throughout the course of the week, variants and stuff like that I've gotten. And if there's any sort of relatively inexpensive bundles or anything in the shop, I'll go over that too. Then we're going to get to Comics Corner today, and we're going to cover 2 characters. We're going to cover Viv, Vision, and Sparky. So we're going to cover them 2 today. With all these cards coming out, it kind of really makes it tough. What I may do, if this keeps happening, is I may kind of just make Comics Corner, we'll focus on the one card in particular, as far as going over everything and comic book appearances and this and that, origin stories and all that. We'll focus on just that one card in particular. And then if there's other cards, side cards and stuff like that, I'll maybe do just a really short little thing about them, just cover like the origin stories, where they came from and that kind of thing, but won't spend a ton of time on them because it's just going to get too difficult to do that if there's going to be a lot of cards. So then next up, we're going to go to, basically book recommendations for the week. So what am I reading? What would I recommend that you check out? That's going to be in the Marvel Unlimited app. Then we'll go to the MCU Movie Minute. Again, also by my friend Jeff, who is designing the new logos for the show and things like that. Came up with that as well, so I kind of like it. And then, of course, we'll end up the show with Dazzlers Lyric Challenge for this week. I'm not sure if anyone I didn't see any guesses for last week's. So last week, I told you I was going to a concert in October. The concert I'm going to see is Jeff Tate. Jeff Tate, of course, is the lead singer of Queensryche, the former lead singer of Queensryche. He is now doing solo stuff primarily on his own. He's done some work with some bands, but primarily doing solo stuff. He is now touring with his band Operation Mindcrime. Which of course is, that famous album I was talking about that is in my top 5 albums of all time. And he is performing the entire album live, which is awesome because I have never gotten a chance to see Queensryche when Jeff Tate was with them, especially doing Operation Mindcrime. So I'm pretty excited about that. Have really good seats. But the song that I picked the lyrics from was Eyes of a Stranger. Which was a big hit for them on MTV. That album generated a lot of videos. It was a concept album that kind of told a story about Dr. X. He was kind of like a cult leader. And then told a story about the main character who ended up working with this Dr. X kind of against his will a little bit, and stuff like that. But it's a fantastic album. Like I said, one of my all-time top 5 albums of all time. And Jeff is one of the best singers in metal, and one of the best vocalists altogether. He's just unbelievable. And even in his at his age now, he's still able to sing as well as he was before, hit the high notes that he did before. So, but yeah, so there you go. So that was the lyric challenge for the week. We'll get to another one at the end of the show, the MCU Minute. Again, a lot going on there, especially in the realm of Doomsday. It switched out from Spider-Man to Doomsday because now Doomsday is filming, and Spider-Man, not that they're done, but they're changing locations and stuff now. So there'll be kind of a break in the Spider-Man filming, but it's all about Doomsday now, folks. And the news coming out of that is really crazy. And it's one of those things that, look, where there's smoke, there's fire. And it's, I'm pretty sure that the one thing I talked about on last week's pod, which was where they saw the house on a set, Peggy Carter and Steve Rogers' house, that they showed at the end of Endgame, is kind of speaking, speaking a lot as to where this movie seems to be coming from or stemming from. So we'll talk about that in MCU Minute on the end of the show today. But before I get into it, first of all, thank you all for listening wherever it is you listen, whether it be via Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever it might be. I appreciate you all for doing that. I know many times I do this show for 2 hours, and it's a long time. So I really appreciate you checking out the pod and listening to the pod. It means the world to me, and I thank you for that. And again, if you have not done so, head over to YouTube, subscribe to my Snap Decisions YouTube channel, because that will be active starting next Monday. When I have Nerf Herder on the show, we'll be talking about, pretty much the same topics I talk about on this show with my guests. I'm going to, change it up a little bit. We used to keep it primarily about Snap, but, I try to talk to them about interests in comics and movies and things like that too. So I'm going to, maybe do a little more of that in future episodes and stuff like that with the guests that I have on. Also, been a guest on my show, Regis Kilbin. If you don't check out his channel, he's one of the most fun streamers to watch, I think, out there. For me, along with Binks, that stream the game. Alex Kocha as well, I check out quite a bit. But Regis has a new game out. So if you haven't done so, go check out his video on that. That's pretty cool, man. When you're a game streamer and you get a chance to kind of, design when you get a chance to design your own game, that's pretty awesome. So he's pretty excited by it, and why wouldn't you be? Go check that out on his YouTube channel. He's got a little tutorial there on how to play it. It is on Steam. Go check that out. I think that's very, very, very cool. And great guy. Like I said, was on my show, and he was kind enough to come on and spend some time with me, and very, very fun to talk to as well. So, congratulations to Dexter and his wife, who are having a child. So that's awesome. I saw that on X. So obviously, shout out to him and his wife for their expected baby. It's very, very cool and very, very exciting to have those. I did tell him, I said, cherish every moment, because it absolutely just does go rocket quick. I mean, I can't believe that, in this coming summer, actually, we will completely be empty nesters, my wife and I, as both daughters will be out on their own. And it just goes so fast. If any of you that are listening are parents, you know what I'm talking about. Or maybe you're planning on being a parent and stuff like that. But all I could say is just blink and you'll miss it. And it's, so just cherish those times, because it's, and even if you're dog parents or cat parents or animal parents, same thing too. Take some time, spend time doing the important stuff, which obviously, this little game we play is kind of just a distraction, right? Something to take up our little bit of spare time and things. But obviously, you can listen to this old man tell you that life goes by very quickly, and before you snap your fingers, you'll be looking back at it and thinking to myself, my gosh, how did this time go by so quickly? But yeah, especially when you have kids and when you have animal pets and stuff like that, it really just goes quickly. And a lot of times as we do, we get caught up in the distractions. We get caught up in the obviously we all have to work for a living. We all have to make money, which is a big part of life, but we get caught up a lot of times in the distractions a little too much. And then, we don't stop and cherish the things that we sometimes should be, whether that's our children, our parents, our friends, our pets, things like that. So just make sure that, you do that. Spend some quality time with those people. And, because, these things that we're doing, like Marvel Snap and everything else, they come and go. And, it's just like hobbies. It's like video games. It's movies. It's all that kind of stuff. It provides us some entertainment, but they come and go. And so make sure that you're cherishing those good times with whomever it is you choose to spend those times with. Life lessons from the old man. So there you go. All right. Let's get into it, shall we? And we will get to the DJ spin. And first of all, look, and again, I'm going to give credit where it's due. There are a lot of 700 gold cards that came out this week, along with the cards we got. A lot of people were saying, "Hey, I got this cool Viv Vision variant on the collection track. I got, I managed to get Awesome Andy's variant, which is very cute." He's sitting down and he's got a little smiley face stuck to his TV box head, and very, very cute card. And I also managed to pull the one for Sparky. And I managed to get the one for Omega Sentinel. And they're kind of like chibis, but they're mech chibis. There's a name for them. But yeah, so look, like I said, put out 700 gold variants. I love it. I think that's great. People will get them off the collection track. They're rare variants. They're not super rare. So you are going to pull them from the collection track, especially if you're collection complete. You're going to have a better chance to get these variants. So look, again, a thumbs up to Second Dinner. I think that's cool. You're going to put out all these cards, then let's have some variants that aren't just the 1200 ones, that aren't just the hard ones to get. Let us have some of these 700 gold variants, or even if you want to get them, they're relatively cheaper. 700 gold is nothing to sneeze at, but if you really want them, they're cheaper. And you can very easily collect them through Alliance rewards many times, because and even if you get premium mystery variants like me, I will automatically get the 700 gold variants because I'm collection complete with those. And so I'll get those automatically from the premium ones rather than getting the lousy avatar. So, to me, it's just a good thing all around. And I'll get to that. There are some more good vibes this week, I think, than most that I've seen. And it does seem like they might be listening to some other people. I know, there were creators out there throughout this whole big ordeal that were saying that they don't feel like they're being listened to. Regis was one of them. Alex Kocher was one of them, and it seems from watching their videos that now both of them have been contacted by Second Dinner. So that's a plus. That's a step in the right direction, right? They're both big time creators, and they should be. They should be involved with Second Dinner. They're helping them out. They're making content constantly about them. So to get their game seen and things like that. So I think that's a step in the right direction too. So I think there's there's some good things going on. You know, we tend to hammer Second Dinner a little bit and hammer this game a little bit. And look, I do it myself. I completely understand it. But, you know, when there are good things that happen, we tend to kind of just like poo-poo that and like overlook it. And then we move on to the bad. So this week I'm seeing more good than bad. So, okay. Let's talk about the card count. Okay. So I'm going to go into the game, and we'll see if I can get an early crash of my iPad here, during the course of this. But I'm going to go into this, and obviously we are in the we're in the Viv Vision season. We've got a whole bunch of androids in this season. Of course, Viv and Sparky, and of course Nimrod is in it. You know, Sentinels of Bastion is in it. So you know, it's kind of a Vision / X-Men combo season, I would guess, if you want to look at it that way. And I've kind of been more excited about topics of seasons before this one, but you know, it is what it is. There's a lot of people that like X-Men and things like that. So, all right. So let's get into the amount of cards. Now, yesterday we started off the month. Now, again, the cool thing is you know, obviously Viv is in the season pass. Sparky was in the whatever they call that, the extended season pass, or the more expensive one. Okay. But they did change that to having that be Sparky's variant. But the cool thing is that you also get the base card now with the variant as well. So you're getting both of those. Now, I'll be honest, Sparky's probably a card I'm never or very seldom ever going to use. I know I've already seen people playing it, move decks, and that's kind of where it belongs. You know, you play it with the massive human torches. People are playing bounce with it. And this is not a deck I like to play because it hurts my brain. And I don't like to play the game like that. I like to be relaxed when I play the game. I don't like to be getting stressed out about where I need to move stuff and how am I going to calculate this and where am I going to put it. And, you know, to make sure that I win, that's too much trouble for me. So it's never going to be one of my favorite cards, but we got Sparky, we got Viv, we got Omega Sentinel, and we got Moira X. We got Awesome Andy as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did I count? Yeah, so Moira X is 1, Awesome Andy's 2, Omega Sentinel's 3, Sparky's 4, Viv Vision's 5. We got 5 cards this week. 5 cards this week, which is crazy. There's 10 only in the month. So we got 5 cards given to us this week alone. And then, of course, the next 3 weeks, we're going to have 3 more. So that's 8. We have 1 coming in Deadpool's Diner. That's 9. And then we have another one. So they really, you know, fronted this with a lot of cards, which, again, I'll be honest, I think that there is good logic behind that, because they're giving you them all up front, right? So, like, if you're not a fan of Move, which I am not, then I really don't care less about playing Sparky. And I'm probably also not going to be playing Viv very much either. You're hearing my dog snoring in the background, by the way. She's comfortably resting behind my pillow. But you're going to hear some snoring. So, hey, what is it with my show without sound effects? Whether it be from outside the house or, you know, whether it be Marley snoring. Yeah, just ambiance, right? So, but I think this is a cool idea. If they're going to front us a whole bunch of cards, I'd rather have it be at the beginning of the season. And I'm sure the content creators kind of dig it too, because now, instead of just doing a video about 1 card or 2 cards, now they could do videos in consecutive days about like 3 or 4 or 5 cards. So I think that's pretty cool. Plus, it gives all the players the ability to have all these different cards, so that if you are not a fan of Move, and again, like I said, I'm not, then I can concentrate on the other cards that aren't Move related. I could look at like Omega Sentinel, which intrigues me. I can, you know, if I want, I can mess around with Awesome Andy, who's not great, but, you know, what the heck. And then, So there's other things that you can play around with. Omega Sentinel seems very strong to me. She's got that activate and imagine, and Safety Blade already put out his end of turn deck, which we all know has Invisible Woman, which doubles the activate on these cards, or activates it again. And the Omega Sentinel one, that's kind of devastating. That's a -7 power. Highest enemy power card with a -7 power. So if you do this, if you play this on turn 4, you activate it on turn 5, right? You hit their highest enemy card power with a -7, okay? Now that card is no longer going to have the highest enemy or highest power. So now if you activate it again with Invisible Woman, at the end of the game, she's going to hit again and hit the second highest power card with a -7. That's pretty damn good. So, Safety, again, great player, and he has that in his deck. So that's going to be, this card I think can really devastate decks. I mean, that's -14 that your opponent is going to get. That's a lot. So yeah, I mean, I think that this is a very intriguing card to me. And so of the ones we got so far, and I know a lot of people are playing Moira. Mostly I saw with Victoria hand decks that they're able to get like a whole bunch of Victoria hands in their hand. If they had her in their opening hand, they get another one, and then that's what they want to be doing anyway. So that's what I've seen with it so far. But I've also seen her being played in just run of the mill regular old destroy decks. With Deadpool and stuff like that, which I'm sure are going to be getting even more popular with next month's zombie series and the head pool that's coming in that. Will probably make it even more popular. But yeah, I think that's a good idea. Is to if you're going to give us a bunch of cards, give them to us up front. Because again, you can mess around a little bit. You're not kind of stuck where they're giving you just a season pass card that's kind of only going to be good for a certain thing, maybe, in which case these two are move centric. So now, Viv is more of a buff card than a move card. I think she works well and everybody's playing those buff decks again, which I can't stand. I think are completely boring. But yeah, I think that's a good idea. So, all right. But the thing that people are talking about is the amount of cards. Now, I have noticed that my tokens are really going. I mean, I think I told you guys at one point in time, I was over 50,000 tokens. Well, now my tokens are dropping dramatically because I'm buying these cards, with tokens, now. Now, I don't mind doing that, but I had to buy, one season 5 series, or I had to buy the season 5 pack to get the one from yesterday. I had to buy 2 season 4 packs to get the other cards. So now I don't mind spending tokens, but again, my tokens are kind of going down. I'm down to 28. So, I'm figuring I'll be over 31 again pretty soon, but so you figure if I collect maybe close to 40, but it does seem like, but again, if I had the choice about spending tokens or spending gold, I'm going to pick tokens because you don't really need them for anything else. Now, they do have those cards you can purchase, whether it be the Ultimate variant or the Spotlight variants now that you may have missed. You can now purchase them with tokens as well. So there's more things you could do with tokens, which again is another thing that the player base has asked for. They have said, okay, don't stop charging us money, stop charging us gold, charge us tokens instead. So again, it does seem like they listen to that and they are going to charge us for, they're going to charge us tokens. So, but anyway, so the amount of cards, okay? Now, personally, I understand why some people, I'm collection complete, it makes a difference. I have a lot more tokens and stuff like that. So it does make a difference. There are still people that are out there that are not Series 3 finished, not Series 4, and so it's going to be a harder decision and a harder choice to make about what cards that you are going to get. I think personally that if I wasn't collection complete, I would probably choose cards like this week, right? In particular, I would not have gotten Sparky because, again, I don't believe that's a card I'm ever going to play. So if I wasn't collection complete, I would have passed on Sparky. And Viv itself, now I always get the season pass, but Viv itself may not, because again, she's for buff decks, move decks, two of my archetypes that I'm really not a fan of. So I would not have chosen to go after those. Now, what this reminds me of, and I've mentioned this a bunch of times on the show, is it reminds me of Magic the Gathering. I knew damn full well that even though whenever a set of Magic came out, I was buying a box of the set to start. So I'd go out and I'd get myself a box, which even back in the day, now this is back in the 90s, boxes were expensive to buy. They were over $100. So it's still a large investment, but what I would find is for the most part, I would get I would get pretty close to a whole set. Now I may be, I'm probably a bunch of rares or ultra super rares, whatever they were called back then, short, because those you don't get as much. But, for the most part, all of the commons, the uncommons, and stuff like that, I had pretty much all from the box. There might be one or two that I was missing. Now, granted, in Magic days, you could trade, right? It's a physical game, so you could go and you could trade with players, which I'd spend a lot of time doing, which I still wish some of these card games would incorporate into. I know Pokemon did, but that game kind of failed anyway. But I really wish there were some ways that you could do that in the games. But I do believe that, what people are going to have to do going forward, if tokens get a little scarce or whatever, that you're going to have to maybe make choices like that. You're going to have to think to yourself, okay, I'm not collection complete, but what is it I like to play? For me in Magic, it was black cards. I like to play discard. Discard was a big thing in black, a big staple of black. So that's what I would look for. I would look for black cards. I'd try to get as many of the black cards as I could because I knew that was generally what I was going to play. So, and in the discard theme, if they came out with a new discard card, I would try to get as many of them as I could for my decks. And that is what I would stick to. And, if I weren't in the position that I was in right now, I would be doing that. I would be looking at, okay, what are the kind of archetypes in Snap that I enjoy playing? What do I really like to play? And if I see that, let's say it's, let's say it's Destroy, right? Then I would want to be specifically focused on the cards that are going to help my archetype deck, right? Now I get it. Most players in Snap might play like way more than one particular deck, but some people may not. And I know because trust me, I see a ton of Destroy all the time. I see a ton of discard all the time. So there are people that just play those all the time. And if that's the case, to me, that would lean towards an easier collection level for you because you can just look for the cards that are going to make that deck better. And I think that's what, especially that, now that's kind of what they're doing. They're coming out with cards to, we have all the major archetypes I think we're going to get. I know that they did Activate, and that is kind of the newest one, and that's the one they're playing with a lot this season. But, I don't know that we're going to see new archetype defining cards. We might. I mean, maybe they'll figure out some other kind of archetype down the road. We're getting the Horde card next month for the zombies, which I don't know if they'll use that for anything but zombies. But, they're always looking into kind of new mechanics and new archetypes. So, and maybe that'll be something people will play out of next month, is maybe they'll play a lot of the Horde archetype. Maybe they'll enjoy the Horde type decks. But, so I think that's one thing you could look at it from that standpoint, being like, all right, so yeah, I'm not ever going to be collection complete, but I like to play this, and this is the kind of cards that I'm going to look for when I see these 10 cards coming out every season, what's going to help my deck and what is going to be the cards that I'm really going to enjoy. Go listen to some of the creators' previews about, I do a preview about the cards. Others do them. Listen to those. Figure out which ones. Oh, yeah. I kind of like that. I think that's going to be a card for me. So then just kind of shoot for that card and knowing that you might not get all the cards every month. But the real reason that I think that this could be happening, now people are saying no, and this could very well be wishful thinking on my part. But I think, and even though I know even Second Dinner has said that this particular thing isn't being worked on right now, but I still think that, and I know that they're focusing on the limited time modes, but I still think that we are going to get at some point, in some way, and in some time, unless the rumors about the game's demise are really true and they're not really going to do much with it going forward. But I still believe that getting us all these cards is going to make for a much, much better draft mode, which so many people have wanted to see. So many people got upset when they saw it in the overseas version of the game. But I think we may be getting it. It may not be next month. It may not be this year. It may not be until next year or sometime, whatever. But I still think that all of these cards that we're getting, and the reason I feel that way is, again, when I look at Magic, right? They used to have commons, uncommons, rares, super rares, right? In the sets. And the commons and uncommons were a lot of the cards that you would see when you would do a draft. Because when you would open packs, especially if you'd sit in on a draft, like where you buy the packs and you open the packs and you make your deck with the packs type of a mode, you can use a lot of these cards like an Awesome Andy, right? That card is not great, but if you had it in a draft mode, that's a card that kind of works with just about anything. And it looks like there are more cards that are not necessarily centric to one type of deck that can kind of still work in a deck. Those are the kinds of cards that you need more of for a draft mode, because when you're going through, and like I made this example, I think it was last week or the week before. When you're going through and you're seeing a couple of cards that, let's say you see a couple destroy cards and you grab them because you want to do a destroy deck. But then let's say in the third round, you don't see any destroy cards. And you're like, oh shit, well, what am I gonna play now? But you may see like a card like Herbie, which kind of does everything, or a card like Nico, which kind of can fit into almost any deck, right? Those are the kind of cards that they need to make more of so that they can round out a draft mode and have a proper draft mode. Whereas the decks won't be total nonsense, that you won't have cards in a jumbled mess that don't even work together, that you can't even create a deck out of. So I think that could be the method to the madness, or the method behind the madness for all these cards. Now, again, I might be completely wrong. And some have told me on Twitter when I mentioned it, that's not happening. But I'm telling you, I think that this is a smart way to do it. They need to increase the amount of cards. Now, this could certainly be all for monetization. It could all be for getting people. But again, if they're doing what they did so far this month, and they've started off where they're not, it's not monetization so much so as it is tokens and buying them with tokens. If they start off with that and they're giving us more and more cards, to me, it really sounds like, or looks like to me, that they're just trying to get the volume count of cards up for the game. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially if we want to see a draft mode or another mode down the road. So yeah. All right. Well, spent enough time on that. That's my thoughts on the amount of cards. You guys can tell me, whether it's in the comments or on Twitter or social media, whatever. Tell me your thoughts on the amount of cards, and we'll get back into that in a little bit anyway, because I did ask a question on my Twitter, which I'm going to go over, which I'm going to go over in just a little bit. Anyway, when I popped up the question, and I asked people about that, how do you feel about the amount of cards? So we're going to revisit that in the next segment anyway, that's coming up. So, and then the second part of this, the second part of the spin is going to be feelings on bots, right? Feelings on bots. Now, again, I watched a couple of creators yesterday playing through the 70s into the 80s and stuff like that. And it did seem like a lot of them were getting bots. Now, the bots, again, they're a little harder to recognize. So let me tell you my little secret about them. I don't know if it's a secret. It's not real. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure it out. But the bots now, you're going to be able to easily recognize the bad, crappy bots, the ones that you could easily take advantage for 8 cubes by snapping on turn 1, and kind of you have to kind of learn how to play them a little bit, because you want to make sure that you're not like generally overpowering the bot all the way through the game, because if they don't think that they have a chance of winning, they're going to run. But at least you're going to get the 2 cubes or 4 cubes out of them if you snap right off the bat. So look for the bots that are very high in collection level. Now, I'm not just talking, and they don't match yours anymore, but look for the ones that are like 50, 60. I even saw some 70,000 collection levels, which is insane. And they are going to be the bots that you will get like every maybe like 4 to 5 to maybe even 6 games that you will see. So when you see something with a super high collection level, and then you'll know in the first 2 turns, because they start playing stupid. They'll start filling up a lane. They'll put all their cards in one lane. A lot of times they're playing destroy. They'll play destroy with like a card like Angel, where they'll just put that in a lane right away. So yeah, I mean, you all know that the dumb plays that they make. But you know, if you see that, check the collection level. If it says that they're high, like 40, 50, 60, 70,000 level, automatically snap them, because chances are it's a bot, and you'll know what you're getting there. But the ones that I think are ridiculous now is the cheater bots that are in Conquest, especially Proving Grounds. To me, that is the dumbest thing in the world. Creators have talked about it from day one when the mode came out. Always just snap and play through Proving Grounds, snap and just get your ticket and get out of there, right? Well, these cheater bots will not let you do that. The cheater bots will, if you beat them, they'll take their 2 cube loss, and now some will retreat, but not all of them, and they will continue to play you throughout the entire round. They will also retreat in Proving Grounds, where if they're losing really badly, they will retreat and then continue to play the mode. So that, I think, is ridiculous. I don't think that Proving Grounds, if they're going to have bots in Proving Grounds, now again, that could be a double-edged sword, because it could be because there's just not a lot of people playing the mode anymore, so they don't want to have the queue. But if that's the case, make them the stupid bots. Just make them. It got so bad, like last month they were still around, where the bots would just leave after the 3rd round in the game. Like, not leave the entire game, unfortunately, but they would retreat, and then you would get your 2 cubes, but then they would play you again, and then they would keep doing that all down the line. So those were annoying, because you'd have to play the entire match out with them by the time they were done retreating. But they would always, you'd make like 2 or 3 plays, they would retreat. You'd make 2 or 3 plays, they'd retreat. And now they were bad. But to me, I think they should just put in they're not going to be able to condition the bots to retreat after one round. Because many times if they don't have a good hand, they won't snap you back. So they're not going to condition them to do that. But they should put in the dumb bots and just let you take advantage of them, and just be done with that mode. Because to have that mode last long, to me, is ridiculously stupid. No one wants to sit in Proving Grounds to get a stupid ticket and have to go through an entire match with a bot that cheats. These cheater bots, boy, let me tell you, I got two blatant examples of how these bots cheat. There were a couple where I had a card in particular that I played down, played down on my side of the board. The card I'm thinking of is Airwalker. No, not Airwalker. I'm thinking of why do I always forget this card's name? The one that prevents cards from outside the game being used. Oh, geez. It's now Safety Blade's favorite card, by the way. But it's from the Heralds of Galactus. Let me just find it, because this is going to bother me. I can't let it go. I can't let it go because it's going to bug me. Stardust. I played down. Now, the bot was playing a Doom deck. Okay, I knew because he got out to 2099. My very next turn, I got out a Stardust. I play the Stardust down. They're still doing their thing where they're thinking. Then all of a sudden, bloop, retreat. So they had to know what card I played down, even though it was face down. It wasn't revealed. It was face down on the board. They insta retreated from that match, that particular game. Insta retreated the minute I put down Stardust on the board. They didn't even play their card. They insta retreat. So those bots know. Don't let them tell you that the bots don't know what you're playing. They 100% do. Because I had two examples of this happen. I had another example of, I'm trying to think of the card. What card did I play? Oh, a Cosmic Ghost Rider. They were playing a Ultron Patriot deck, which you will see that very prevalent with the bots. The bots love to play that one. And they play that one, though, pretty well, where they'll get the Patriot down, they'll get the Blue Marvel down, and then they'll wait until turn 6 to play the Ultron. So they play that deck pretty well. And again, I had a Cosmic Ghost Rider, and they had the Patriot down and the Blue Marvel down. We're both in the front lane of the same lane. I put the Cosmic Ghost Rider on the board. Again, not flipped up. Instant retreat. And then they ended that game, and then they continued to play me the rest of the match. So these bots 100% cheat. They 100% know what cards you're playing. And like I said, I never ever saw them do that prior to this, where they will just not even let you flip the card and then they retreat. Nope. The card goes down, and if it's a card that is going to beat their particular deck in question, they will retreat from the match without even flipping over their next card. So see, that to me is wrong. You're not emulating a player with that bot. The bot is cheating because it is seeing what you're playing before you play it, and it's automatically leaving the match. And they're not quitting the match. They're leaving that particular game, and then they're coming back to play the next one. So to me, that's wrong. I just don't agree with that. And I don't care if they want to make it seem more real. That's not how players play. Players can't see the card you have, as these bots can. Other players are not going to see what you have. Now they can assume, or maybe once the game goes on long enough, they're going to know what you have because of the deck trackers and stuff like that. But at that point in a conquest match, or in a longer match, that's part of the strategy. But when the bots are cheating because they're seeing a card that you're going to play down, and then they know that they can't beat that card, that's wrong. That's incorrect programming of those bots. That should not be happening in a game. And the other thing is the bots should not be playing out matches in Proving Grounds. So I hope they still continue to fine tune this bot stuff, because honestly, the cheater bots are just out of control. And they when they're cheating like that, where you haven't even flipped your card over, that is not in any way, shape, or form realism to the game. That is just cheating you out of a win. And that shouldn't be the case. In any mode where you're playing against a computer, that should not be the case. So, and even if they're trying to say that they want to make this more realistic, players wouldn't do that. Players wouldn't do that. The only reason a player would fold out is if they had bad cards, bad draws, or something like that. But players would not, you flip your card down. Players would sometimes think about their move and stuff like that. But a player can't certainly see what you played down before you played it. So that to me is wrong, and that shouldn't be happening. So hopefully they continue to adjust these things. Look, I know, well, I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure that the reason this is all occurring is because of the drop off in players. And it is what it is. There's nothing they could do to control that. So you're just going to keep getting more and more of these bots. But personally, I hope they fine tune them somehow where the proving ground bots are not good bots. And also to make it where they're not seeing your card played down before you play it. That's just not right. That is not an experience that you would have in game from another player in most cases. So, yeah. So anyway, that is the bot discussion. Let me know what you guys think about it and how you feel about these changes made to bots that are in the game. Again, I get it. I understand why they're doing it, but yeah, it's not. I don't think it's a great thing. Okay, moving on here, and we're gonna get to my DJ request line. And we're going to look at a question that I put out to the Twitter. And my question is, how do you feel about the amount of cards we're getting in the last few seasons? Let me know in the comments below. I'll be reading them on the podcast. Thank you. So I did get some responses to this. A couple of them here. I got JNR from Twitter, who is at Jewthrone, THRONE. Definitely too much, especially if missing some cards from LTMs that are now like 2 per month and only add to the pile of cards releasing. So, yeah, look, again, I can certainly see both sides of this. And I'm trying to come at this from a standpoint of where I am collection complete. So I have all the cards, and I'm trying to come from a standpoint where the majority, I would think, of the people probably don't. And so what JNR brings up is a legit reason. Still maybe hasn't gotten the cards out of the limited time modes, which again, I made this clear that not everybody plays this game the same way. Not everybody can have the time or have the wherewithal to be able to sit down with this game for hours upon hours and to just, play it constantly until they're able to level up on ladder, finish a limited time game mode and all that. Some people just don't have that time. And so I completely understand his comments here and his concerns, about the fact that, that he's still missing cards. And now, saying are now like 2 per month and only add to the pile of, and from the LTMs as well. So I can see that it's overwhelming. Thinking that you're never going to catch up. But to JNR, I would say, again, like I said earlier in this discussion, my suggestion would be for you is focus on the deck that you really like playing or really enjoy playing. And if there's a card that you see that may really help your deck, focus on that card in particular. Because they're not all necessarily going to be cards that you may want to play. I mean, you might have a desire to try every card in the game. But maybe knowing that's maybe not going to happen. Some of these extra cards, just take a look at them. I'm sure you're not going to really miss using Awesome Andy, for instance. Poor Andy, right? But I know you're really not going to miss that card all that much. If you're not a move player, you might not care too much about Sparky or Viv Vision. But yeah, look at the kind of type of decks that you enjoy playing and maybe just kind of focus and try to get that one particular or 2 particular cards that are going to you're going to be able to add to your deck or help your deck out along the way. So, but thanks for the comment. Then I have Chris Hamsworth. Hello, Chris. Says way too much with a bunch of A's. We don't have enough deck slots. Well, that's a whole nother point in time discussion. I totally agree with that. 100%. My God, give us more deck slots already. Jeez, how hard can that be? I mean, we should have, what do we have? Like 20, I don't even know. I haven't counted them in forever. But my gosh, we should have like 50, we should have double that. Yeah, I mean, definitely make more deck slots so I don't have to keep deleting my decks. Yeah, that would be wonderful. We need quality over quantity. I have an idea. 2 times a year or every 6 months, there should be a game mode where you can buy 1 deck slot or maybe include in Deadpool's Diner on second before the top prize. Yeah, there's so many ways they can do deck slots. Like, I don't even see why it should be a monetized thing. But yeah, why not include them on a ladder? Why not, include them on something like that where in Character Mastery, let's say, when you open up a slot in Character Mastery, hey, you just opened up 10 deck slots. Yeah, I mean, why not? I agree with that. But of course, he said way too much because he doesn't have enough deck slots to make, which is a legit point. We've been clamoring about that for, my goodness, years in this game. We're going on the 3rd year, probably talking about that for 2 years. The same thing with that god-awful game board. Oh my God, I'm sick of looking at an asteroid. Can we please add new game boards? We did see that it was coming, and see this kind of stuff, the stuff with deck slots, the stuff with game boards, that is what I was talking about when I would love to see a gameplay, just a making the game better patch. I don't need adjustments to cards. Take a big patch that you might have twice a year and just make game improvements. Not just squashing bugs, which there still are a ton of those, but make game improvements. My God, we haven't seen some of this stuff change in years since this game has been out. And you have all this licensing to Marvel Comics. Why not make a Daily Bugle game board? Why not make a Savage Land game board? Why not make a Genosha game board? There's so many different kinds you could do. A Baxter Building game board, a Tony Stark lab table game board. They're endless. You can make so many. You can even make Doctor Strange's Sanctum a game board. You could do, and then deck slots. Jeez, man. I mean these aren't hard asks. I can't see how that would be that hard to do without rewriting, the entire code of the game. So yeah, just let's get these little things worked on. Give us like I said, 2 patches a year. I know we're not getting roadmaps anymore, but 2 patches a year. Give us a quality of life, change up the game. Let's get it a little fresh. Let's get a little different and just change up some of this stuff in the game to give players more of these things that helps the overall quality of life. Yes, please. So thank you, Chris. Appreciate it as always. And so that was my little question of the week on that particular segment, which I am going to now call the request line. When I do this on YouTube, I'm going to put a request line out there to let you guys ask questions of my guest. So I'm going to let you do that, and I'll pick 1 or 2, and I will ask the guest on the request line. I will ask the guest the questions that you give me. So basically what I'm going to do is now next week is Nerf Herder. Okay, Nerf Herder does videos on YouTube. He has for a long time. So if there is anything out there that you would like to ask, and I think one person already said, hey, how did you come up with that name? Are you a big Star Wars fan? I've talked to him about that already, but if that's really a question you guys want to know, I will ask him that again, and I will read that out and shout that out on my, on the YouTube video. So, that's one of the things I thought that would be kind of cool that I would do with that. If it's a request line with a question, obviously I will use that on my YouTube channel as well, and I will have my guest answer the question along with me. So I will do that also. So at that, whenever I get guests on, future guests like No Luck's Given, Perry Manilow, Fawthor Newman, Lauren Whatevs, whoever I'm going to have on the show, I will, if you have specific questions for that guest, I will have those asked. I'll pick one or two. And if I have a question that you have a question for myself, I will include them in, and I will ask them the question as well. So that should be fun part of the YouTube show. So, but anyway, thank you to all those who get me those and who answer the posts on Twitter and whatnot. I really, really appreciate it. So, okay, we're going to get to Snap Talk, and we're going to talk about my week in Marvel Snap and my week in review. I finished at 95, folks, 95. Why did I just get a White Queen avatar? Claim your rewards. Your support and understanding are highly appreciated. Accept this reward as a thank you. More than likely, this probably would have been a premium mystery variant. And I got a lousy avatar, which is a new white... No, it's new White Queen. I don't know. I don't know what that's for. It's a cool avatar, actually. Well, I don't know. I don't know why I got it. Just said claim your rewards. Like, I got an avatar. Weird. But, okay. So anyway, my weekend snap, I finished at 95. So that means I started this month in the 60s at 65. And I'm already up to level 76. So I did get... and wait till you hear what deck I'm playing if you didn't read my X. I'm going to hold you off on that for a little bit because you're all going to just... You're going to be shocked. But yeah, so I finished at level 95. Highest I finished probably since like January of this year, maybe February. But I did not get the gold Galactus card back, but what are you going to do? I was just pretty happy to finish at 95. So I did get to there, and that's where I finished this past month. I did get all the cards. I got the card from the Null from Conquest, and I did manage to do all that. So this month's card in Conquest is a Rhino. So there's a Rhino, and it's the Moon Colony variant of Rhino. He's got a missing tooth. He's got some big choppers, and he's got a missing tooth. So there's a Rhino variant. You've got a mystery variant that is available in there. So you could probably unlock one of those ones I told you about earlier. If you play a little bit of Conquest and get the 150 points needed to get the mystery variant, you'll probably get one of those 700 variants that I was telling you about. A silver ticket, 100 credits. The next week you got a title Living Fire Hazard. You got a gold ticket. You got a white neon border in week 3, along with some credits in week 4. You have another title, Emotional Core Disengaged, an Infinity ticket, Rhino boosters, and then in week 5 you have the premium mystery variant along with the Rhino avatar. So if you would want that Rhino variant and you are a Rhino player, certainly go in and try to get that. Like I told you, I got all the new cards. I got Moira. I got all of those. In my ultimate variant today is the Ultimate Thor variant, the Venomized one. And in the Spotlight, it is the Loki for President variant from that comic book cover. Then let's see what else we have here. Going to go over to the offers part. They came out with a Black Swan Singularity. This card isn't really played very much, but it has 1,200 gold, 2,500 collector tokens for $34.99. A little bit too much. They have the Moira X variant for me, the exclusive offer for $10. You can get the Moira X variant. Mech with a Mouth, Deadpool variant. Red Guardian, Iron Curtain, that's a very expensive one. And in my shop today, I have, in the daily offer and in my cards, I have the Hood, which I did just get on my ladder because I unlocked one of the 700 card variants. That's the Mech variant of the Hood. Now the Demon doesn't change; it's just the Hood one in that. And then I've got the Viv Vision, the Chibi Cyberpunk variant in my shop today. That's a 700 gold one as well, which I did end up picking that up. That was only 700, so because I didn't get that one yet. And then I have a Moira X Chibi Cyberpunk. Those are the ones that everybody's kind of drawing. So I'm hoping that I will end up drawing this one from a 700 gold variant. I have the Baby Iceman variant. I have do I need that to complete an album? There's baby variants that I need that I was very close to completing an album for. I wonder if this is one of those. I'm going to have to look and see here real quick. Of course, my iPad crashed in the meantime. I kind of like the cover of this month's with the Androids. It's like a synthwave looking cover. It's got all the purples and the pinks and stuff like that. And it's got like a cityscape in the background. So I kind of like that. It looks like one of my the synthwave bands that I listen to, like an album cover that they would make. But yeah, now I got to go to the albums, and I got to see if I'm going to have to buy this Iceman, because I know that there's baby albums that I have not finished. So let me just take a look. Boss Babies. Yeah, he is in the Boss Baby album, but it doesn't finish the album for me. I still need 3 to get the Iron Man emote, the Tony Stark emote, but I'm still 3 away. So yeah, I'm not going to spend 1,200 gold for that. If I only needed 1, I would, but I'm not going to do that. So anyway, so that's Conquest. So all right, let's look at the decks that I'm playing. Now, like I said, you're not going to believe this, but I got this off of KM Best's list of good decks to play for the week. This, I'm going to read you out the contents of it first. Okay, here's the cards. Black Knight, Red Shift, Gambit, Corvus Glaive, Lady Sif, Ghost Rider, Blink, Hela. Oh my God. The man who criticized the hell out of players of Hela and people who are playing Hela. And now I have gone to the dark side. I have turned to the dark side. I have accepted the Emperor's offer to be his Padawan, and I have turned to the dark side of Hela. It also has Isan, Agatha, Scar, and Death. I've played Hela before. Never for this extent, but I'm going to tell you what. This is a very, very, very good Hela list. I can't... Now, the thing is about Hela is you can play it a lot easier knowing that if you don't get your Hela. But I'm going to tell you what, because of the way this deck is constructed and how you're discarding purposely with Red Shift, so you're discarding that leftmost card. So even if you don't, you're always going to have Agatha that you can get rid of, always. So if you get Red Shift and you get Black Knight out, you're getting that 14 point. You're still getting that line, right? Which is still pretty darn good. Then if you get your Ghost Rider, you're still able to pull that 14, that Agatha back up. You're going to have the 14 from Black Knight. So you've still got that line, okay? Plus, your Corvus can now, plus you are going to get an extra card from Redshift, okay? Which comes in kind of handy now, because the biggest fear of players with Hela is that if you start out with Hela, you don't want to be playing Corvus Glaive. Lady Sif is targeted discard, but you don't want to play Corvus Glaive because you don't want to discount your Hela. You're kind of afraid of doing that. But Redshift is going to give you that extra card that you're going to be able to discard, so that you won't necessarily be afraid of your Hela being discarded. I did not run into that yet, where I've discarded my Hela with Corvus Glaive, because I've had a handful of cards, including the bigger ones like Scar and Death is in here. And you're able to blink as well. So you've got the blink, where if you're down to like your last couple cards, and there was a time where I was down to my last card and I had to use blink to blink in Hela on the very last play. The Isan is for those created cards. So you're going to create that card from Redshift, but you're also going to create you're also going to create the sword from Black Knight, you're going to create the Ebony Blade. So let those two in your hand play Isan, and it's going to be able to grab those created cards from your hand and put them in his lane. So that works out really. This was just very well thought out. Now I have seen Denisha's list, and it is different from this. It has some of the same things in it, but it is different. It does not have Isan in it. But whoever came up with this one, this is a very good deck. And it is, the other thing that you'll find about this list is it is very good against bots, because bots get confused by this. Many times even the cheater bots will snap you, but they, for whatever reason, don't see the hella coming. They're seeing that you're losing to them on maybe 2 of the 3 lanes, and they will not see the hella coming at the end. It's going to fill in all those spaces on the board with all that power, and you're just going to end up beating them. So this is a very good deck against cheater bots. So you're going to see, a lot of that with this deck as well. So I've had a pretty good amount of success with this, to where I've gotten so far on ladder. And again, you have an easy snap out. If you think you're going to lose, which I've lost to, what was I playing? Your bad matchups too, right? Like you just know your bad matchups in this. If someone plays, well, for sure, if someone plays, oh my God. And you know what? I'm never going to remember this stupid card's name. If someone plays out, where are you? If someone plays out a Stardust, you lose. So I had one played out on me, but I still ended up winning, because while I played the Hela, I played her but I ended up playing her on turn 5 because I had a Corvus out, and I played the Hela on turn 5 just to get her 6 power. But in my hand, I still had the 414 Ebony Blade, which I was still able to play out because I was getting 7. So I was still able to play out an Ebony Blade, and I was still able to play out because my opponent was playing a deck where they were killing off their cards. So it was kind of like a semi-destroy list. So I had a cheap death. So I still had the ability to play out, and many, many times you'll get a cheap Scar. So you still have some cards that you could just play out on your own if that does indeed happen, where someone plays a Stardust against you. So it's not a be-all and end-all. And plus you have the Gambit that you can always wait till sometime toward the end of the game, where you can just play that Gambit out and just hope that the Gambit wins you a lane. So you still have ways around that. So this is just a very, very good list. So if you're into Hela, give it a shot. And you might find that it's pretty good deck, especially in this meta where, now you've got people playing these long game plays where they're going to try to get out, the buff stuff and all that, but you're still in many cases going to be able to go bigger than that, with this deck, with all these big cards, with the Hela with the Agatha that's 14, with the Isan that's 10, the Ghost Rider that's 5 plus a 14, the Ebony Blade that's a 14 or a 12 or a 10, so you're just going to be able to just get bigger than them. And so that's, but this deck has been very good. I've won a lot with this, and I'm not even really playing the Viv Visions and all that kind of stuff yet because I've been playing Hela for the most part on ladder. Safety Blades, end of turn deck, which he has now included Omega Sentinel in. It's Zabu, Hydra Bob. Because of all the 4s in it, you want the Zabu now because he plays Omega Sentinel, who's a 4, Juggernaut's a 4, and Stardust in here is a 4. So Zabu, Hydra Bob, Black Cat, Thena, Havoc, Surge, Mobius M. Mobius, Invisible Woman, First Steps, Omega Sentinel, Juggernaut, Stardust, and the Thing. Again, if you like playing these end-of-turn decks, this is still very strong, and I'm telling you, that Omega Sentinel play, where you're going to get to do that twice, that's devastating. That is devastating. So Your end of turn abilities happen twice. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. She activates end of turn ability. Yeah, no, never mind. I'm wrong. Okay. So Invisible Woman is going to activate. She's going to double activate Thing, Athena, Havoc, and Hydra Bob still. Yeah, Omega Sentinel is just going to get the one activate for the -7 power. But even still, that's Omega Sentinel is pretty good. Just the fact that she's going to get that -7 on the card. I was thinking that Invisible Woman activate. It does not, because it's not an activate card. It's it is an activate card, but it's not going to activate and activate. It's Invisible Woman just does the end of turn abilities that happen twice. Hers is not end of turn, so my bad. But anyway, this is still a very good deck. Safety also has a move deck out, and this is he has the Viv Vision in this deck. So this is Batroc the Leaper, Hydra Bob, Mercury, Sam Wilson's Cap, Silk, Hydra Stomper, Storm, Viv Vision, War Machine. So it's a Storm, War Machine, and Legion deck as well. Stardust and Cannonball. So you have the Cannonball Mercury combo. You have Batroc. You have Silk, which is going to jump all over the board. You have Hydra Stomper, which is just going to gain +1 power for each time one of your cards moves. So it can get pretty high with the Silk bouncing around, the Batroc bouncing around, which can also get pretty high. He has the War Machine Legion combo in here that you could just finish off somebody with at the end of a game if you end up getting that. And then, it's because he has the Storm in here too. So he can use that where he can just finish off the game where the other player can't go when they Legion on that. So just a lot of combo stuff in here, but you also have a bunch of cards that are going to move around a lot. And he also has a Moira X deck as well. Safety does. This has the Hood, Moira X, Uncle Ben, Shadow King, Iron Patriot, Victoria Hand. So there's the Victoria Hand. Killmonger, Gladiator, Shang-Chi, Misery, Lady Deathstrike, and Death. It's going to let you get out a big death at the end of the game. It's got elements in it from Misery with the Hood. It's got Moira X that you can just copy your hand, where you can maybe get doubles of Victoria Hand and the Hood and things like that. You got Iron Patriot for the random factor there. You've got Gladiator that's going to destroy, Shang that's going to destroy, Killmonger is going to destroy. Uncle Ben, when it destroys, is going to make disruption and move that other card. Misery plays well with that. Lady Deathstrike is going to just wipe out a lane. So there you got the safety deck with Moira X. Toxic Wiccan is still around. Zabu, Quicksilver Domino, Luke Cage, Red Guardian, Hazmat, Speed, LaFay, Malekith, Wiccan, Anti-Venom, and Ajax. So that's still being played. You've got a Surfer list that now contains Viv Vision. I think I saw Dexter with this one. Surge, Forge, or it could have also been Regis. I'm not sure which. Brood, Captain Carter, Silver Surfer, Viv Vision, Sebastian Shaw, Surfer First Steps, Luna Snow, Absorbing Man, Gwenpool, and Sarah. So it's a typical Surfer list, but you can just, all these 3-cost cards that are going to get bonused. Luna is going to get bigger. Surfer First Steps is going to make that happen twice with the regular Surfer. You got Captain Carter to build up those lanes. You still can have a very big Brood with Forge, and also can Absorbing Man that as well if that's the way you want to go. Gwenpool, which is just going to increase those. Also, Sebastian Shaw can make it bigger. So just your typical Surfer list. Let me see what else we've got here. We got the buff deck. Now, I'm not one for these. I'm not really good with these. But we got America Chavez, Surge, Forge, Mr. Sinister, Grandmaster, Mysterio, Brood, Viv Vision, which is just going to buff those cards. Sebastian Shaw, Surfer First Steps, Gwenpool, and Galacta. So it's just you're just doing a lot of buffing with this deck. And I think that might be about it. Now, I've still been playing the Wiccan Tech one a little bit. This is with some just tech stuff, and also First Steps Galactus. This has Quicksilver, Domino, Negasonic, Speed, Mobius, Copycat, Surfer First Steps, Wiccan, Stardust, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Eliath, and Galactus First Steps. So this is just kind of you want to be in position where you're getting priority. You want to be in position where you're going to be able to just win a lane, whether it be, and all this tech. I mean, Mobius and Stardust just pose nightmares to people. And then, of course, you got the Cosmic Ghost Rider in there that can wipe out their front two cards in a lane. And then you've got Eliath and you've got Galactus First Steps as well. So these are some of the cards I have been playing throughout the course of the week. Let's look at variants and stuff. I think I left off last week with, I think I talked about Symbiote Spider-Man, which I did. So the ones that I got for this week, I got Aranya, which is the Dan Hip one. I got the Meek, the Zoltan Boros variant of Meek. I got the, and then it was just pretty much the ones that I got from yesterday. I got the Vision from the collection track, the Cyberpunk Vision variant, which is very cool looking. And then I got Sparky's variant, which is the Dardo Studios variant, the robotic dog. I got the Omega Sentinel variant. That's the Chibi Cyberpunk variant of Omega Sentinel. And then I got the base card, of course, for her as well. And then I've got Madam Web, the Toon Force variant. I kind of like these. They call them Toon Force simply because they look like they should be in cartoons or animated. I got the Madam Web animated one from Toon Force. That was one of the rare ones. That's only the 700 gold. So, and then in my shop, I think I have one more left. Yeah, I think I told you guys. So I have one more left to pull, and that's the Moirax. I knew I was going to do it. Good God, Moira X. Moira X, I still have hers to pick up too. So probably will end up getting that one. Congrats and hats off to my alliance, who of course got all the rewards again for this past week. Let me see if I'm still looking for any members. Oh no, look at that. I just have a new one. I have another one that I think that should put us at full. Let's see. Yeah. So there you go. My alliance is full once again. We were down to like 24. So my alliance is full once again. And so welcome to the new alliance member, Poop Monster. Okay. My alliance is very cool and has got all of the alliance rewards once again. All right. So that is my week in Snap. In a nutshell there, and we are going to turn over to Comics Corner, and we're going to talk about Viv Vision, and we're going to talk about Sparky. So let's get into it, shall we? And we're going to do Viv Vision first. Vivian Vision. I have an Aunt Viv, by the way. So there you go. Vivian Vision from Earth 616. Her quote, "I used to be more emotional, like you. Then within a very short period of time, my brother was killed and my mother committed suicide. After that, I decided that emotions were not something in which I cared to indulge." Well, I could definitely understand why she would feel that way. Her nickname is Vivi. Other alias is Vivid Vessel. Her affiliation and relationships, she was formerly in the Champions. She is single. Physical characteristics, female. She's 5'7", 220 pounds at normal synthesoid density. Variable up to 66 tons. 127 pounds as a human. Eyeballs are yellow as a synthesoid. Irises are green as a human. No visible as a synthesoid. Her hair is black with green and pink highlights as a human, green as a synthezoid. Skin is red as a synthezoid. Her origin, synthesized, built by Vision. Living status, alive, formerly deceased. Reality is Earth 616. Cause of death, killed by Zax. Death undone by Mephisto. Oh my God. Mephisto's got his fingerprints and claws all over the MCU, the Marvel Universe. He just raises people from the dead. Crazy. No dual identity. She is American. Occupation, adventurer and student. Education, high school. Base of operations, 616 Hickory Branch Lane, Cherrydale, Arlington, Virginia. Champions Mobile Bunker. Creators, Tom King, Gabriel Hernandez Waita. First appearance, Vision, Volume 2, Number 1, in November of 2015. So again, we're jumping from characters that were made right when Marvel started, and sometimes before, in the case of Human Torch, all the way up to pretty much present day, 2015, which was 10 years ago. So relatively new creation. Viv was a synthezoid created by the Vision in his process to humanize himself through the creation of a family. The brainwaves of Viv and her twin brother Vin came from the combination of the brain patterns of the Vision in Virginia, Vin and Viv's mother, and Vision's wife. The Visions moved to Arlington, Virginia, in order to facilitate Vision becoming the Avengers' White House liaison. The family became instant celebrities, with their neighbors constantly seeking pictures which they shared online. This caught the attention of Eric Williams, who became upset that Vision would create a family that appeared to be happy when the Williams family wasn't, as well as the fact that the Vision's brainwaves were taken from his brother Simon in the first place. Both Viv and Vin attend to school at the Alexander Hamilton High School in Fairfax, but they were assigned different schedules to help them assimilate their classmates. One night, while their father was away with the Avengers, the Grim Reaper broke into the Vision's home, running Viv through with his scythe. Vin rushed to her aid, but he too was struck down. Virginia then flew into a rage and beat Eric to death with a cookie sheet in front of her wounded children. On the floor of their kitchen, the Grim Reaper's attack caused severe injuries in Viv's neurospleen, leaving her in a catatonic state. However, the essential nerve receptors in it had phased to avoid further damage and remained intangible. The inessential components that had remained solid were repaired by the Vision after 3 weeks of nonstop work. With the help of Tony Stark, the Vision harnessed enough energy to signal the nerves left incorporeal by the damage and join them with the rest of the repaired body, successfully bringing Viv back. Viv was left in a state of extreme distress after the death of her lab partner, Chris Kinski, whose words of acceptance of Viv's synthetic nature had become etched in her memory. She later resented Virginia when she eventually revealed she had accidentally caused Chris's death. As the death of the boy happened when Virginia confronted his father, Leon, who tried to blackmail Virginia into having her family leave their home using a video of her burying the Grim Reaper's body. Following the death of Vin and Virginia's subsequent suicide, Viv and Vision, as well as Sparky, tried to carry on with their family life in Cherrydale. Not long afterwards, Viv joined the Champions alongside Ms. Marvel, Nova, Spider-Man, the Hulk, and Cyclops. When the Champions teamed up with the Avengers and disrupted the High Evolutionaries' plan to collide the Earth with the Counter-Earth, Viv and Falcon found themselves accidentally teleported to the latter. Once captured by the High Evolutionary, he began experimenting on both heroes with the intention to evolve them in his own twisted way. In Viv's case, the High Evolutionary upgraded the technology of her body, turning her into a human. Viv was later rescued by her father and the rest of the Avengers. While still a synthezoid, Viv had hacked into the High Evolutionary's computer systems and learned that he kept something hidden in his Citadel's basement. She quickly told the Avengers and her fellow Champions this fact before her memory faded, so that they could stop the High Evolutionary's mad scheme to crash Counter-Earth and Earth into each other. The heroes reached the depths of Counter-Earth with few minutes to spare, and walked into the ground self-imposed prison of the High Evolutionary's son, the Higher Evolutionary, against her father's wishes. Viv snuck past a fight between the heroes and the Higher Evolutionary's guards and stumbled upon the Higher Evolutionary himself. He had chained himself to the orbit engine, which controlled the Counter-Earth's orbitational frequency to prevent his father from ever using it against the well-being of the Ani-Men. Viv convinced him to step aside and let her alter the counter-Earth's frequency so it could harmlessly phase through the Earth instead of colliding. The higher evolutionary conceded, but when the remaining heroes caught up with Viv, he mistakenly believed them to be enemies and attacked them, seeing as both the Avengers and the Champions were occupied fighting the higher evolutionary. Viv decided to reach into the orbit engine, despite the higher evolutionary having previously warned her that using it would prove lethal. Viv adjusted the machine, and the vibrational feedback caused her to fade away before being able to reach Vision's hand for help. The heroes believed her to be dead, but Viv survived, finding herself stranded in a white void. Viv eventually arrived on plant life and unexpectedly encountered the high evolutionary. He explained that the accident with his teleporter had transformed him into sentient digital data, no longer needing a physical body. The only problem was that he was trapped within the dimension he and Viv were in and needed a connection to their dimension in order to return. Viv started having visions, which the high evolutionary explained were because her father was creating a second Viv, and she apparently had a connection to her twin, allowing her to briefly see things through her eyes. The evolutionary believed that Viv's connection to her twin could allow him to transmit himself back to their dimensions and demanded that Viv take him back to home. Viv refused and managed to use her connection to her twin to return to Earth by herself transforming into streaming data, stranding the evolutionary in the unknown dimension. When Viv returned, however, the twin her father created was also active. Vision attempted to leave a normal life, treating the two Vivs as equals while they grew accustomed to each other. Unfortunately, Vision had been infected with an insignificant computer virus sometime before creating the second Viv, passing the infection to his new daughter. The virus affected the new Viv more severely, causing her to develop a disdain for her human counterpart and a desire to eliminate her, supposedly for their father's sake. Viv's android twin finally snapped when Vision was away from home and attacked her. While running away, Viv managed to impale her android twin with a lamp right before she solidified her body, which fatally damaged her. Viv had managed to alert the Champions, and they arrived right after android Viv's impalement. Viv ran away in a state of shock, but was later found by her father. He had accessed the other Viv's memory core and learned that she had gone haywire, so he didn't hold Viv accountable. Even though Vision and the Wasp managed to repair android Viv's body, her brain no longer functioned, wishing to regain her powers, and as a means to have her sister live through herself. Viv transplanted her consciousness to the android body, effectively returning to her previous state before the high evolutionary's tampering. When Roxxon's Asgardian dragon was unleashed on Cole's academic high school, Viv, along with the Champions, battled it. However, during the fight, Viv suddenly went haywire and exploded, destroying the entire school and seemingly perishing herself. This grave incident caused the government to pass the Underage Superhuman Welfare Act, or Kamala's Law, which outlawed all individuals under the age of 21 from being a superhero. Wow. Viv actually survived, but seeing the damage she had caused, she felt guilty and thought that this new law was the best thing to do. After finding out that the Champions and several other young superheroes were having a meeting in secret location, she left an anonymous message to Cradle about the location. Thanks to Cradle, she was able to apprehend some of them, much to her dismay. Her powers, similarly to her father, Viv previously possessed a number of superhuman powers, ultimately derived from her artificial substance and metabolism. Viv's body was supposedly a functioning replica of a human body, containing analogs to virtually all human organs, blood, and tissue, composed of an unknown synthetic organic-like substance. This substance mimicked all functions of the human tissue, but was several times as strong, durable, and resilient. She has density manipulation, capable of separating or pulling themselves together, thus being able to control her density and solidity. She has superhuman strength. Strength was above humans. Increasing her density would increase her strength. Potential lift over 25 tons. Intangibility could control her density to pass as part or all of her body through solid objects. Superhuman durability can increase her density to diamond hardness. At full density, she weighs 66 tons and can become extremely resistant to damage. Flight, when at a minimum mass, could fly through the air weightlessly. Solar radiation absorption. The solar jewel on Viv's brow absorbed ambient solar energy that her body was able to convert directly into usable forms by a process not unlike photosynthesis in plants. Energy projection. She can project the solar energy she stored, either form her jewel or her eyes as a powerful beam. Computer brain was a multiprocessor computer which enabled her to wirelessly or directly interact with other computer systems to utilize or extract data. This way she could be constantly connected to the internet and even act as a Wi-Fi hotspot. Wow, that's handy. Holographic projection could project multiple full-size detailed holograms with audio projection and camouflage. Using her holographic projectors, she could project a running hologram of her surroundings in order to hide her presence. Weaknesses, emotional shutdown. Walled off her emotions regarding the loss of her mother and brother rather than cope with them. The partition was removed by the high evolutionary, leaving Viv heartbroken and confused over feelings she previously refused to process. When she regained her android form, she once again disengaged her emotional core. Viv was programmed to act like a 16-year-old, uses Vision as a surname despite her late mother, previously unequivocally stating they do not, in fact, have a surname. Viv has stated, I have yet to thoroughly acquaint myself with a full enough sampling of sexual and gender identities to as yet determine my own. An attraction to boys is nowhere within me, implying that she does not identify as heterosexual and may eventually identify as homosexual or asexual. Her sexual orientation was ultimately confirmed by the fact that she kissed Ironheart. Trivia. Viv's Wi-Fi password is even an android can cry. Oh, so all one word. A reference to the famous scene from Avengers 58 when Vision breaks down in tears after being accepted into the Avengers ranks, accompanied by Goliath's narration that even an android can cry. Wow, that's cool. Before the definitive prototype of the sketches, Viv would be Vin's younger sister, not twins. So there you go. That is all about Viv Vision. And now we're going to look up Sparky and just do kind of a little blurb on him. We won't spend as much time, like I said, on these other characters quite as much, but we'll just give a little blurb about his origin, where he came from, and so on. All right, Sparky from Earth 616. His quote is woof. A synthezoid created by the Vision. First step in reuniting his family after their household was shaken by the discovery of the Grim Reaper's corpse buried in the backyard of Virginia. So this all happens in that same series. Vision family created by Vision. Co-creation deceased was Virginia. That's, of course, the wife. Viv co-creation. Marital status of Sparky is not married, ladies. His eyeballs are white. Iris is non-visible. His hair is green. Built by Vision to resemble a Scottish Terrier. Assimilated by an Ultron probe. He's alive. Formerly was deceased. Earth 616. Hickory Branch Lane, Cherrydale, Arlington, Virginia. Cause of death. He was beaten to death by Virginia during a fit of blind rage. Revived by Tony Stark and the Scarlet Witch. Wow, that's horrible. Virginia beat him up. He is the pet. No dual personalities. Creators Tom King and Gabriel Hernandez Hueta, which is what a lot of it's going to be from this series. So very quickly, similar to Vision, Sparky possesses a number of super canine powers, ultimately derived from his artificial substance and metabolism. Sparky's canine body is supposedly a functioning replica of a Scottish Terrier body containing analogs to virtually all canine organs, blood and tissue composed of an unknown synthetic organic-like substance. This substance mimics all the functions of organic tissue but is several times as strong, durable, and resilient. Density manipulation. The molecules in Sparky's body are capable of separating or pulling themselves together, thus being able to control his density and solidity. Can control his density to pass a part or all of his body through solid objects. And he also can fly. Sparky didn't originally have a name when he debuted in the final pages of Vision Volume 2, Number 6. The letters page of the issue asked readers to suggest names for the dog. Oh, that's cool. In the letters page of Vision, Volume 2, Number 8, Michael Strobel is created for suggesting Sparky, spelled S-T-R-O-B-L, together with a list of other suggestions that didn't make the cut, including Y. Fido, oh my God, that's great, Victor Von Dog, and K9. K9 was used in movies for, K9 was a dog in a, police dog movie. Why Fido is a really good one. That's a really good one. Victor Von Dog, he's not bad, so I wouldn't have named him that. But that's cool. And then, that's pretty much all there is to him. So, all right, we're going to go over to the Marvel Unlimited app. We're going to look up Viv. And we're going to look up Sparky. They're going to all be in those same books, so this should be a pretty quick one. Because they're all going to be in that same series. So Vision. And yeah, there it is. It comes up under, there's actually a director's cut of that comic now. I'm going to have to read this because I never have. It's a Vision director's cut, 6 issues, and it was done in 2017. So I'm going to go and read this now, guys. This is cool. I've never read this series. And shout out to Ree from Snap on this, and of course it's just Ree on there. She had mentioned what comic this was from. But yeah, I have never read this, so I'm gonna need to go and read it. I'm gonna save it to my library right now, actually. One of the most surprising superhero stories ever told. Now better than ever, experience Tom King and Gabriel Hernandez Walta's masterpiece. Represented with bonus behind-the-scenes content. Behold the visions. They're the family next door. And they have the power to kill us all. What could possibly go wrong? Collecting Vision 2015, number 1 and 2, plus extras including Tom King's original series pitch, script excerpts, character design, and sketches by Gabriel Hernandez Walta, cover sketches by Mike Del Mundo, and more. So that's awesome. So there you go. You can get this whole thing right now in Marvel Unlimited. I'm sure if you want to read all about this, if maybe you're a fan of Vision, you want to read all about this, you can probably find this, I would imagine, in graphic novel form somewhere, whether you have a comic book store near you, you can probably get the whole series in that sort of form if you want to check it out. Or, like I said, pay the $9.99 and get the Marvel Unlimited app, which I have just clicked a button and put it in my library. So there you go. It's that simple. It's that simple, guys. And I don't know what I would do without this app. I really love it. And let me see. I'm going to open up my See All, and I bet you I'm gonna now have that in my library. Yep, there it is. So that's awesome. So I will definitely read that. All right, so my books this week, what I sometimes call my pull list and my book recommendations. We have got Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe issue number 1. They've been doing a lot of stuff with Godzilla, but this is him against all of the Marvel Universe, so that should be fun. I will give that a read. Avengers Academy Marvel Voices Infinite, that is exclusive only to the Marvel Unlimited app. I have Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, issue number 4. That is the movie adaptation. Rogue the Savage Land, issue number 5. I have The Uncanny X-Men, issue number 15. Giant Size X-Men number 1. Wow, that's cool. They're redoing those. And that's a brand new book. Magic, which is fantastic, issue number 5. I've been reading that. Ultimate Spider-Man. Oh, it's getting closer and closer to being over. Oh, it's getting so good too. Oh my God. It's getting so good. The Mysterio cult is involved now. And oh my God, I'm going to hate to see this book end. Cable, Love and Chrome, issue number 5. Deadpool Wolverine, issue number 5. What if Donald Duck became Iron Man? Oh my God. That's issue number 1. Now I'm going to have to read that. I didn't even see that one before. Spider-Boy. Eddie Brock's Carnage. I was reading for a little while, but it didn't really catch me. Didn't really grab me. Doom's Division's up to number 3. Infinity Watch is up to number 5. I do like that. New Champions, issue number 5. Predator versus Spider-Man, issue 2. So I'm going to have to continue to read that. Daredevil Cold Day in Hell is issue number 2. Continue reading that. Wolverine Kitty Pryde is issue number 2. Marvel Mutts, issue number 15. And then there's just a whole bunch of, they'll do these where they'll like reprint comics. Spectacular Spider-Man, number 195 from 1998. They also have, I had that book. Spectacular Spider-Man number 216 with Spidey and Scorpion on the cover. That's a reprint of that. I own that book. That's from 1988. A book called Nom. If you're interested in like the war comic books, Sergeant Rock might be in those. I didn't check. The Thing and Machine Man, Marvel 2-in-1 from 1974 is obviously reprints. Thing and Human Torch, Marvel 2-in-1. Thing and Spider-Woman. These are all from the 70s. Spider-Man and Vermin. I talked to you guys about Vermin. That's a reprint from 1988. I told you guys about Vermin. Marvel Rivals Infinity Comics up to number 17. I've got some other Spider-Man reprints. And The Thing and Jocasta. We got Jocasta in this week's cards. So that's another one of those 2-in-1s from 1974. And then a bunch more of those Nom books. Got Puma and Spider-Man when Spider-Man had his black suit. These are just all reprints. Tombstone and Spider-Man. Green Goblin, Spider-Man from the 1980s. So there you go. So those are some comics to give you some ideas to go and check out. And that is what is in the comic store. And, of course, that is going to wrap up the comic segment for this week. And, we'll look at the cards quick. I'll read them out. I'm sure you guys all have them already, but I'll read them out here really fast. And then we'll get over to the MCU Minute. And we'll get this sucker wrapped up with Dazzlers Lyric Challenge for the week. But if my snap will open up, I will read over the cards for that we have so far, including Viv Vision and Sparky, and of course the other cards that we've gotten so far this week. All right, let's get into this. And so Viv Vision is a 3/2. At the start of each turn, give all cards in your hand +1 power if you're winning here. Otherwise, move this to another location. So I've seen this being used in buff decks, and I've seen it being used in some move decks as well. We have Omega Sentinel is a 4/3. Activate, afflict the highest power enemy card with -7 power. So that's pretty good. And then we've got Sparky is a 2/1. Activate, give your card that last moved +3 power and move it back to its previous location. So this is going to work really well with Human Torch, with Vulture, any of those cards that are going to grow every time they move. Dagger will work really, really well with that card. Awesome Andy is a 2/1. Activate, give one of your cards at each other location +2 power. So it's kind of like a mini little Mr. Fantastic. But he doesn't have to necessarily be in the middle lane. He's just going to give one of your cards at each other location +2, which would make him a 2/3, 2/5. So it's not horrible. He's just kind of boring. And then we have Moira X, 1/2. When this is destroyed, get a copy of your opening hand. So there you go, guys. That is a look at the first part of the season. And the early cards. We will go over the next week's card. We will choose the one card that we're getting, and then I will maybe go back and go over Omega Sentinel or Moira X, whichever one that I decide to do in Comics Corner next week. All right, it's time for the happenings in the MCU, and we're going to go over some MCU news. And again, all the news is really talking about the whole Steve Rogers thing, man. It's got to be happening because where there's so much smoke, there's fire. And I'll tell you what, I get it. And I get it. It's a spoiler. I don't even care it got spoiled because I love the idea behind it. I love the idea that they're going to go back to Endgame and that Captain America, Doom could very even well kill off Chris Evans. That could very well happen. Chris Evans was brought back. I'm sure it's probably for maybe this scene, and he could very well die very early on in this film, that version of Captain America. Now, the version we know and love, he's gone anyway. He's an old man somewhere on the moon. We don't know whether he's still alive. Might still see that version of him in Doomsday because they never really did pronounce him dead. So, Falcon just joked and said he was on the moon. Whether he's dead, whether he's not, we don't know. But this version of Chris Evans might be in a big lot of trouble. And I mean, it is smart though that he said he stayed back and created a whole life with Captain Carter, with Peggy, and then he came back. So he didn't stay there. And that would have created an incursion. So I really like this. I really think it's smart for them to do it. And apparently by doing so, he attracted Dr. Doom's attention, really, really pissed off Doom for some reason. Who knows? Maybe by him doing that, it led to something happening in Doom's life that just ruined his life. So I don't know, but I think it's very smart and I really like it. We got the Marvel Zombies trailer at Disney at D23. If you haven't seen it, it looks really, really good. It's coming out earlier. It's coming out in September. And we got Blade in it. Blade is beating up zombies now, guys. But the kicker with this is, it is not Mahershala Ali. So a lot of people, ever since Mahershala came out and they said that Mahershala was going to play Blade, that is not indeed who is playing him in Marvel Zombies, in case you were wondering. If you haven't checked out the trailer, go do it. It looks cool. I think it's coming out like September 24th or something like that, but I'm excited for that. I think it's going to be really, really good, really fun. The Marvel Cinematic Universe unleashes the trailer for its next project, Marvel Zombies, after a long wait. Marvel's having a busy year. With 3 MCU movies, which includes the debut of Fantastic Four on the TV side, studios' efforts are divided between stories that are canon to the MCU project timeline and those that are not. Like your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man before it, Marvel Zombies does not impact the MCU's canon. That said, several stars from the movie franchise are set to come back for the animated series. Spinning out of an episode of What If Season 1, the 4-part event series delves further into what a zombie apocalypse in the Marvel Universe looks like. Marvel has released a trailer for Marvel Zombies, revealing a look at several returning characters in bloody action in the TV mature animated series, which will be released on Disney Plus on September 24th, the day before my birthday. The trailer teases a new group of heroes with many Multiverse Saga stars voicing their animated counterparts, going up against villains that include the zombie versions of the beloved MCU fan favorites such as Captain America and Scarlet Witch. The focus on violent action sequences is made clear. The Marvel Zombies trailer offers fans a first look at Blade in a Marvel Studios project. The character had an uncredited voice cameo in one of the Eternals post-credit scenes, with the Moon Knight version of Blade being teased in What If's finale. Blade can be seen cutting up zombies with incredible skill in the Marvel Zombies trailer. Sadly, Mahershala Ali will not be voicing Blade in Marvel Zombies, while the MCU's Blade movie development remains up in the air. Character will be played by Todd Williams in the show. That said, fans can rest easy, knowing that many of their favorites will reprise their roles in TV mature series. Those names include Elizabeth Olsen as a zombified Scarlet Witch, one of Marvel Zombies' many villains, as well as Multiverse Saga players such as Haley Steinfeld's Kate Bishop, Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova, and more. The trailer also showed the return of Black Panther, Spider-Man, and Ant-Man's head from the Marvel Zombies episode of What If, confirming the series continues their story. This is from Screen Rant, by the way. One of the MCU's most criticized aspects of late is how several recently introduced characters have been missing after their debuts. While Marvel Zombies is not set in the main MCU universe, the series' new trailer confirms the return of characters like Kate Bishop, Ms. Marvel, Shang-Chi, and others that fans have been asking to see more of. That boosts excitement for the series, which will offer a look at how many of these characters react to a shared universe of heroes before upcoming MCU projects like Avengers Doomsday put a lot of them together. The TV mature action and villains like zombified Scarlet Witch and Namor add a sense of novelty to the series, making Marvel Zombies stand out amid the MCU's offerings. So there you go. Yeah, Namor is in it. It is kind of cool. You get to see some of these other characters that we were hoping to see along the way that we really haven't gotten much out of. First look at Blade Knight. Tom Holland gives update on Spider-Man's MCU future. Tom Holland recently shared his views on playing the role of Spider-Man after being asked how long he wants to continue. The actor is currently shooting for the upcoming Brand New Day and made his debut as a web-slinger in 2016. Man, it's already been 9 years since Tom Holland's debut. That's crazy. Appearing alongside John Barenthal, Mark Ruffalo, Michael Mando, Sadie Sink, and Zendaya. Gave a vague answer on it. Sat with the LAD Bible and talked about his upcoming movie. He said, I think with anything, it's all about what's in front of you. And right now what's in front of us is Spider-Man Brand New Day and focusing on making the movie worthy of the last film. I've been actively sifting through the internet and trying to best understand what it is that the fans want from a Spider-Man movie, and that's been my driving force in these pitch meetings. Further revealed how he troubled the producers sometimes and stated, I think the producers at times were like absolutely sick of me, but I think it's really important because we make these movies for the fans. Although the actor didn't reveal much about his future, he shared that he has been heavily involved in the overall creative process while working on Spider-Man 4. What's been really fun, he says, about this most recent movie is designing the suit and being a part of that process and understanding what we wanted to try and achieve. Furthermore, he was tight-lipped about sharing any more information regarding whether the suit takes inspiration from any parts of the comic to not reveal any details on the movie's plot. So, kind of vague there, but sometimes that's what this kind of news is. Comicbook.com has seven supervillains perfect for Doctor Doom's rumored evil team in Avengers Doomsday. So there's an evil team rumored now for Doom. And they're going to go through them here. Let's see who they pick. King Thanos. Oh, man. He's in the 2015 story. In the years after Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, Josh Brolin has repeatedly teased his return as Thanos and expressed his openness about reprising the role. This makes it possible for a version of Thanos to join Doctor Doom in Doomsday, which would present the perfect opportunity for King Thanos to make his debut. In Marvel Comics, Thanos became king of nothing when the universe heroes grew old and weak and he eradicated life. But King Thanos from Avengers Campus Theme Ride, that's right, they had Brolin go and do the voice for that. Avengers Infinity Defense is even more threatening. This variant of Thanos won the Battle of Earth in Endgame and defeated the Avengers. King Thanos would be perfect ally to Doom in Doomsday, given his hatred for the Avengers and desire for more power. Thanos also plays a key role as a member of the Cabal in the 2015 Secret Wars event in Marvel Comics. So this would put a fun twist on Josh Brolin's return to the MCU. That'd be cool. Steve Rogers, Captain Hydra. Ever since he left the MCU in Endgame, and especially after his return in Deadpool and Wolverine, Chris Evans has long been rumored to be coming back. While it's possible he could return as original Captain America, which I just mentioned, he's probably going to be in the Peggy timeline. There's also speculation of Evans portraying a Dark Rogers from another reality, perhaps the Hydra-indoctrinated variant from Marvel's 27 Secret Empire event. Captain Hydra would be a fantastic asset to Doom's team, and this would be a fantastic way to bring those Avengers actors back together after 7 years. Yeah, it would. Hulk's Maestro, Bruce Banner's Maestro. For a number of years now, there have been complaints that the Hulk has been nerfed, and does seem to be the case. One of the perfect ways to bring back the Savage Hulk would be to introduce Maestro as an ally of Avengers Doomsday's Doctor Doom. In comics, Maestro is the Hulk from a distant nuclear war-ravaged future timeline, making him hardened, twisted, and corrupt, portraying a villainous version of the... We don't have Maestro in the game yet, in Snap yet either. Reed Richards' Maker. After Pedro Pascal made his MCU debut, in First Steps, there are hopes that even more Mr. Fantastic variants will be seen in the future. This could include the villainous iteration of Richards from the Ultimate Marvel Universe of Earth 1610 in Marvel Comics, The Maker. This Reed Richards became twisted and manipulative after suffering a series of traumas, and he plays a key role in 2015 Secret Wars crossover, so it fit perfectly into Doomsday and Secret Wars storylines. Miles Teller's Reed Richards from 2015's Fantastic Four was inspired by The Maker, so this could offer him some redemption if they bring him back. Number 3 is Mephisto. Mephisto finally made his MCU debut in Ironheart. This brief appearance left us wanting more, and possible debut of Avengers Doomsday supervillain team presents a perfect opportunity for him to return. Mephisto is the demonic ruler of hell and being incredible power in the MCU, so it'd be fantastic to see him develop further. It's currently unclear when Cohen will revise the role, but we hope as soon as next year. I don't think they'd bring Mephisto in to side with Doom. The next one is Ultron. James Spader's Ultron's been reprising the role in Vision Quest. Ultron's power and command over mechanical drones make him one unstoppable and unmatched villain. Scope pose a huge threat. And then number 1 is Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch. Wanda pushed her to her limits and eventually over the edge, corrupting her with the dark hold to become a twisted and villainous Scarlet Witch. Elizabeth Olsen's long-running and beloved MCU character died at the hands of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but there have been some major teasing of her returning. An amnesiac Wanda becomes Victor Von Doom's wife in Marvel Comics. So they could be seen in the MCU. This would be a brilliant way to establish Doom as a terrifying villain from the get-go. So that's cool. Just a little list there of possibilities for coming up Doomsday. All right, folks. So that brings us to the end of this week's show. And before I do the Dazzlers Lyric Challenge, first I want to say that I am a proud member of the Snap Judgments League of Podcasts, which include Snap on This with Lauren Whatevs, with it's just and Benjamin Roller. Make sure to check them out every single Friday. You can check that out both on YouTube and also on the audio version as well. Always a fun time listening to their secret homework and the card rankings and all that good stuff. And whether Ben is playing a new game on his channel, which, by the way, go check him out. I think he's doing game streaming on Twitch. So I meant to stop over there, but I'm not exactly sure when he plays. I think he's doing Hades and stuff. But go check that out. Yeah, great podcast. And I'm sure at some point with the guests that I'm having again, I will have one, if not all of them, back on my show at some point again as well coming up. And of course, we have the OG, the Snap Judgments podcast with Glazer and Roy. And of course, always they have got guests with them from all aspects of the Snapverse, so to speak. So make sure you check out the pods. Kier, I know, is taking a break from the game, so I believe he's also taking a break from the pod as well, but he's going to be an upcoming guest on my show somewhere down the line also, so I'll be talking with Kier very shortly. All right, so here we go. This is the Dazzlers Lyric Challenge for the week. This should be an easy one. Very, very well-known song. And an older one, but this is an absolute classic. And I got to thinking about it because of a show that I watched recently, a documentary that I watched recently about the artist in particular. So, okay, again, like I said, I think this one's pretty simple, so here we go. Now, Paul is a real estate novelist who never had time for a wife. And he's talking with Davy, who's still in the Navy, and probably will be for life. And the waitress is practicing politics as the businessmen slowly get stoned. Yes, they're sharing a drink they call loneliness, but it's better than drinking alone. There you go. That should be a very, very easy one for an easy, no prize. If you don't know the lyrics to this song, boy, I don't think you're a music fan, or I don't know, maybe you're living under a rock. But yeah, pretty easy one I think for the Dazzlers Lyric Challenge this week. That's another thing that Jeff has produced some graphics for. By the way, my friend Jeff, Empowered on Facebook. If you need any help doing anything marketing wise, whether it's a small business, whether it's a podcast, something as simple as that, and you want a really knowledgeable guy who's been doing it for a long time, used to work for ESPN at one point, out of college and stuff, please go check out his site on Facebook and look him up if you ever need any help for any of that kind of stuff. Also, again, I always give him a plug, my good friend Scott, Elevate the Sky, who I will have on the show again at some point, has been very busy. He's got new music all the time coming out. He posts stuff to Facebook, but it also gets added to all the streaming services as well. And like I said, he's working on a little bit of different stuff now. He was doing the synthwave stuff for a while, but he's gotten into doing more lyrical stuff, doing more stuff that, like I said, kind of reminds me of 90s music and things. So make sure you check him out. He's Elevate the Sky on Blue Sky, oddly enough, and it should be easy to remember. Check out his music wherever you download all your favorite types of music also. So, All right, guys. Well, there you have it. We're in a new season. We've got a lot to be, I think, pretty pleased about. I don't think there's really too much to be that upset about so far this month. Which I know there'll always be the people who will find things to be upset about. Yours truly, the Snap DJ, is playing hella. Who'd ever thought you'd hear that? But however you choose to play the game, whatever way you choose to, please have fun. With it, again, please stay safe, be kind to one another always, and don't forget, next week on Monday, I will be restarting my YouTube channel up with guests, and it'll have all new graphics and all that kind of stuff, so come on over and check it out. I will more than likely record the videos. There may be occasions where I might have it live. It just depends on when I can get the guests and stuff like that. But more than likely, it'll be recorded and thrown up on the YouTube page. So please go and check out my YouTube page. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Make sure you drop likes on the videos as well, as it helps us out on my quest to try to get to 1K over there, which would be very cool. Like I said, it allows me to just do some extra stuff on there that I couldn't do before. So, all right, guys, that's it for me. Have a great week in however you choose to do it. And hopefully I will talk to you all on the next episode of Snap Decisions. This is your Snap DJ signing off.